Hey, what's up? So AI has become a great brainstorming tool. It allows you to brainstorm and come up with ideas. The problem is that AI has made it very easy to brainstorm and come up with ideas, meaning that you might be getting a lot of the same type of information and ideas and things like that other people in your niche or topic talk about also. The thing is that you might not need a new topic. Most likely you don't. You just need a different way to be able to talk about that topic that's new and kind of unique. So instead of using AI to kind of brainstorm that topic more and try to figure things out, why not use AI to actually investigate that topic and find where the gaps are in the market, find out where people are struggling, find out what's already crowded and how you can differentiate yourself by coming up with something new, novel, and something that's useful and different for your audience. That's what these 6 prompts are for. So let's hop in to the very first one. So prompt number 1 is find what is being repeated. So the prompt is, I am researching this topic. And then that's where you would add your topic. And then using the sources I provide, identify the advice, claims, examples, hooks, promises, and viewpoints that appear repeatedly. Group them into heavily repeated ideas, different wording for the same basic idea, topics covered often but only superficially, angles I should avoid repeating. Do not suggest new ideas yet. First, show me where the topic has become predictable. And then you're going to paste your sources, which might be obviously competitor YouTube videos or other things that you have as well. And that's what this prompt is going to help and kind of investigate and look into for you. So what this prompt actually does is it helps you see what everybody else is already saying so that you don't end up creating the same idea with just slightly different wording. And you would use this before you actually start brainstorming. It gives you a better idea of what's already been covered and what you probably want to stay away from. Now, you might be wondering, how am I going to get this prompt? Don't worry about it. You don't have to memorize it or take screenshots. I'm going to supply you with a free Notion document that you can get right in the description. Go right there and you'll be able to get all of these prompts and use them whenever and however you'd like. So let's move on to prompt number 2. So prompt number 2 is find what is still unresolved. The prompt is, based on the sources and your previous analysis, identify what people still struggle to understand or achieve. Look for repeated questions, advice that did not work, missing steps, common objections, confusion or frustration, workarounds people have created, and for each issue, explain what existing content is failing to address. So what this actually does is it looks for the parts people are still confused about, still struggling with, or still not getting a good answer to. And you would use this when you want to find an angle that is actually helpful instead of just creating more content around a popular topic that other people have already probably spoken about and talked about or shared before. So that moves on to prompt number 3. Prompt number 3 is to find out who is underserved. So the prompt is identify people or situations receiving generic advice that may need a different approach. Consider differences in experience, budget, time, industry, platform, goals, tools, limitations, or circumstances. Which audiences appear underserved and what would make the topic more useful to them? And what this prompt does is it helps you find the people who are getting the same generic advice as everybody else, even though their situation might be completely different. And you would use this when the topic feels very crowded, but you think that there is or may be a specific group of people who are not really being spoken to or not really finding the content that they're looking for and having a hard time. And that's where you come in, which moves us on to prompt number 4. Which is challenge the common assumption. The prompt is identify assumptions that most content about this topic accepts without questioning. For each one, explain when it's true, when it may be incomplete or wrong, who could get poor results from it, what conditions or exceptions are ignored, what stronger angle could replace it. Do not disagree just to be different. Only challenge assumptions when the evidence supports it. So what this prompt essentially does is it takes the advice that everybody seems to agree with and asks whether it's actually true in every single situation. And you would use this when everybody's repeating the same advice and you think there may be exceptions, missing context, or a better way to explain it. Which moves us on to the next prompt, number 5, which is to borrow from an adjacent field or an adjacent niche. So prompt is find useful frameworks, processes, formats, or strategies from related fields that could be applied to this topic. For each one, explain where it comes from, how it could be adapted, why it creates a different angle, and what audience problem it could solve. Avoid connections that are clever but not practical. This one is probably my favorite out of all 5. I love actually doing this and trying to find ways to kind of create a hybrid from something that might be completely different, but you can figure out a way to actually bring that together with what you're actually working on or trying to share. So what this prompt is actually doing is it's looking outside your topic for ideas, systems, or approaches that could work in a way inside of your topic. And you would use this when you feel like all the obvious ideas have already been done and you need to look somewhere else for a different angle. Which leads us to the last and final prompt in this series. So the prompt is review the potential angles you identified. Label each one as supported by evidence, reasonable inference, unvalidated idea. Then rank them based on demand, usefulness, originality, and relevance to my audience. Recommend the top 3 and briefly explain the angle, who it's for, why it's worth pursuing, what evidence supports it, and what still needs to be validated. Now, this is what this prompt does essentially. It helps you separate the ideas that are actually supported by the research from the ones that just sound good, that sound cool. And you would use this at the very end. This is the last prompt. This is before you decide which angle is actually worth turning into content, an offer, an ad, a campaign, whatever it might be that you're using it for. So these 6, you go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You want to use all 6 of these kind of in that sequence. That's kind of how they're doing. It's more like a workflow. And by the end, you should have some new ideas that of how to talk about that topic that you did not think of before, that you wouldn't have thought of without kind of going through this process. So I really am excited to see how this works out for you. Please go ahead and give it a try. See how it works for you. Let me know in the comments if it does help at all. I really think it does. These are things that I actually use as well in a variety of different ways, not just on this channel, but in other things that I do and other faceless YouTube channels that I run. And it works very, very well. So I'm excited to see what happens when you go out and try this. Other than that, I hope you found this useful. If you have any questions or anything like that, please let me know in the comments. Other than that, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Take care.